Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of College Football UK. Yes, you can hear the excitement in my voice because we are so close. Joining me on this week's episode is Nick Cosgrove. How are you, sir?
All good. Different location and in holiday mode, but as you know, I thought you guys deserved my attendance. So despite it being holiday time for me, I still thought I'd attend.
Because that's what heroes do. That's what
It
heroes do.
is. They've got
Well, if you guys want to say that, then that's fine by me.
You're not
not
you're not going to dispute it, right?
No.
not all heroes wear capes, and seldom do they wear Notre Dame gear either, but we'll make an exception just this once. And this week, we're here to talk about the
Oh, I'm here
Atlantic.
too, by the way, boys. Thanks very much.
Whoa,
Yeah,
whoa,
nice.
whoa, whoa, whoa. Hang the fuck on, Gary.
We
And
started
this
well. We
week,
started well.
as we are to talk about the Atlantic Coast Conference, we thought we'd bring in our resident Atlantic Coast Conference expert, TikTok superstar still, and a man of which now you can purchase some fine stickers with his name on them.
Yeah,
Gary's
the
back.
the merchandise is flying off the shelves. Yeah, it's gone crazy. Everything's fine. How we doing, boys? Good to see you.
Oh,
I
good.
don't know
Oh,
whether
good.
we can call a guy who supports Florida State a knowledgeable man of the ACC.
We
Yeah, I
can.
was I didn't want to argue too much the point, but calling me the ACC expert with a background that says "Go Knowles," I'll take it.
I
But
won't
it's
be I won't be putting your team down at the end of this episode. I'll be honest, Gary. You know,
well, there's a spoiler alert.
no spoilers. But unfortunately, Florida State
Spoiler alert.
will not be my team this year in the ACC.
So, right, before we get started, I do want to say something about these stickers, Gary, by the way.
Yes,
Not only did they look fantastic, but as I was gearing up
super
today,
shiny, super
yes,
shiny.
as I was gearing up to get ready for today to come on, it's also holiday time for myself. Um, School holidays, which means I've got a week with my daughter. Obviously, Nick's got his kids around for the school holidays. So as I'm kind of getting ready, my daughter comes up to me. She's like, "So, are you recording tonight, Daddy?" I said, "Yes." Says, "Who you recording with tonight?" And I said, "Nick, but you know him as Chris."
Chris,
And
yep.
I've got Gary on. And she said, "Who's Gary?" And I was like, "What do you mean, who's Gary? You see him every time you're here, he's on." Gary's the one who's famous on TikTok. And she started laughing. And
Yep.
she's like, "Right, okay." And I
Which is
said,
what we both did.
It's about
uh,
right. That's what I do every time I open TikTok and go, God's sake, what the hell's going on with you people? Yep.
then Mrs. Fletch kind of goes to me. She goes, oh, by the way, I've seen the new stickers." And my daughter goes, "I want a sticker."
Yeah, I want a sticker. I want
And I was
one.
like,
Now suddenly,
What's what stickers are there? So I said that they have like I danced with Gary on them and a bucket hat, and it's
yep.
from when Gary was at the F1. She was like, "I want one." And I went, "But you haven't danced with Gary," and she goes,
Mhm.
"So I want
Right.
one."
Oh,
Okay, so
well then.
there's an
So this
order.
is the first official request, is it?
Yeah, so an order is being placed. So my
They are
daughter
they
can have a
are
sticker.
serious they are seriously limited. She did not
Um,
make that many. So
So, but there will be an order being placed in, so my daughter can have a sticker that says "I danced with Gary." But or
at the
could
Lando
could
stand,
you?
even though she didn't.
Yeah.
Nudge nudge, wink wink. She might not have to put an order in.
Okay. But anyway, we are here to, as I said, we're here to talk about the ACC now, as it's been Nick's news has been off for the week. Unfortunately, it's just one of those things. We have to let Nick rest. We can't have him on it 24/7
He
as
is on
much as we
holiday.
want
As he
to.
mentioned, he is on holiday. So,
Has Gary's Gazette been open this week? And if so, has Gary's Gazette got anything?
Gary's Gazette was opened, looked at, closed again because there's sweet
Nah,
bugger all to
nah, fall.
mention other than everyone's at full camp, everyone's doing full training. No news is good news as far as everyone's
Yep.
concerned, right? There's been no massive injury news. And plus point, nobody's been shot this week in the college world, as far as we're aware. So other than that, we'll take the positives.
Yes. So the only bit of news, I think, and I can't even call it news, and this is because it's Fletcher's forum. This is proper. It's a forum piece. Like, does not
Right.
really make the news, but it's a forum
Opening it
piece.
all up. Yeah.
is LSU have had a video placed on social media this week that was swiftly deleted for opening with a picture of like a watchtower over the LSU camp.
Yes, I
As
remember. Yes, I saw
it
that.
was very, very quickly brought down, took down the video
Hmm.
because many have referenced Brian Kelly's the famous incident from Brian Kelly in 2010 when a Notre Dame student died after being sent up on, was it scaffolding? No, it was a foot. It was like a cherry picker.
Cherry picker, some form of
Yeah,
Fell off
building. Yeah,
in bad weather.
a
Uh,
scissor lift, I think it was.
yeah, tragically passed away. And many a little bit bit insensitive when your head coach is Brian Kelly, the guy who sent that kid up there. Um,
yeah.
I say it's a forum piece. This is all I've got, really. However, I snuck into Nick's news, and on the page that never really gets used anymore, the crossword
Page
bit.
3.
Oh no, oh no, we can't talk about that. That's for the
That's for the college football after dark show.
yeah, that's for the Patreon subscribers. That
Oh, he.
episode. No, but Nick's news doesn't really tend to use the. I'm sorry, I see a floating head behind me. Um, the crossword puzzle
Section.
section doesn't really get used. However, we have two trivia questions to make up for the lack of
Nick, go and
hints.
find some news. Quick, quick, go find news.
No. We passed that
Too
moment now.
late, too late. We've missed it.
Trivia question number one comes in a 1A, 1B. How many college football teams share a stadium with an NFL team, and can you name those teams? Is 1B.
I assume you mean on a regular basis, not one-off
Not
Yeah,
periodic.
one-off ball
as a
games and
home
stuff. Yeah.
stadium,
Right, okay.
how many and who?
Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh and the Steelers share. I thought
They do, yeah.
they do. Pitt and
They
yeah, it's Pitt,
certainly
isn't it?
they certainly share a training facility, yeah.
Pretty sure it's the Steelers and Pitt. Who else would do it though?
I'm
Wait,
gonna say half a dozen, six.
You are very close. Very
Because I
close.
can think of a few and I must be missing a few as well. So
8?
It's five.
Oh, it's the other way, is it?
So five college football teams share a home stadium with an NFL team. Now, can you name those five teams?
one is Pittsburgh.
One is Pitt, yes. Who share a stadium with?
Pittsburgh
The
Pittsburgh
Steelers.
Steelers, yes.
Um,
Miami? No. North Carolina.
do one of the Washington teams not share with Seattle?
Nope.
No. It's going to be somewhere in the northeast, right? It's going to be somewhere up New York, New Jersey, Rutgers, up that area, because that's all so congested up there. Surely there's a team up there that shares with the Patriots. No, Gillette Stadium. No.
I'm gonna say, I feel like
Because they
Nick would
use
know that
the
one.
Mercedes Benz, right? They use the Georgia Stadium, don't they?
Yeah,
They
a
use the
lot,
Falcon
but
Stadium, but not
Jo-
for
yeah, but
regular
not regular.
seasons,
Yeah, because all three
games,
Georgia teams
and
have their own.
championships and stuff, isn't
All
it?
three Georgia teams have their own stadium.
I was gonna say, if
Um,
someone were to share one with the Patriots, I'm pretty sure, even if you weren't as knowledgeable on college football, you'd at least know who shared a stadium with your New England Patriots.
NFL team,
So
yeah.
Boston College.
we've got one. No,
Australia,
Boston College.
Um,
Georgia Tech, no.
I'll give you a clue. It's not in
South
Georgia.
Carolina, no. South Carolina. No.
oh, go on. Give
I'll
us.
give I'll
Texas
give you one of
Stadium?
the
No.
I'll give you one of the more difficult ones that I don't think you would have come up with. Temple. Temple University share Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia with the Eagles.
Oh.
So
I
there's
told you it's
two.
up that way.
You got Pitt and
Cleveland?
Philly.
One of the Cleveland teams? Cincinnati? Ohio? No.
No, I'm out. I'm out.
Nope, you're out. Garage, want to hazard a guess at any
Wisconsin?
of the other three?
Colorado and Denver? No. Phoenix? Arizona? Vegas? Vegas, Nevada? No.
Vegas, yes.
Yes.
UNLV share Allegiant Stadium with the Raiders. That's three.
Mm, Arizona Stadium. Arizona State and the Cardinals? Damn.
Because, well, Arizona State are based in Tempe, which is basically in Phoenix, but kind of on the outskirts of Phoenix, whereas the Cardinals are right in Phoenix.
Mm.
Just two more. And I feel like you won't get one of them. You might. Don't think you'll kick yourself for it, but I think you'll be frustrated that you didn't get the other one.
I was going to say San Diego probably, but they haven't got a state, they haven't got an NFL team anymore. Rose Bowl. Nobody plays at SoFi, do they?
No, because SoFi's already got two NFL
Got two.
teams.
Can't
Yeah.
have a. Wouldn't hear what nobody that plays. Stanford don't play there.
So the one I don't think you'll get is the University of South Florida, who shares Raymond James Stadium in Tampa
Tampa.
with the
I was
Bucks.
wondering about somewhere in Florida.
I'll give you one. I'll
Ah,
give you one clue for the last one. We're in the right state now.
Florida. So we're in Florida.
Someone share with Jacksonville.
Jack will think it's got to be. It's got to be. University of Miami don't play at Hard Rock, do they?
They do. They share a home stadium with the Miami Dolphins.
Do they play at Hard Rock Stadium? Damn.
Oh, yeah, wasn't Florida State versus Miami last year at Hard Rock?
But you would think sometimes in games like that, oh, what if they've just you because you're coming up, you're
That's
gonna
what. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because it's a because it's the big rivalry. I would have thought they've only gone there because of
and
we know
last
we're going to
year,
fill this.
I think last year you're scheduling the game in advance, knowing, well, Florida State have just come off a unbeaten season. They've gone
Yeah,
30, well, they've just gone
13 and
unbeaten.
0. Thank you very much. You should have been
Yeah.
in the college playoff.
shoulda, woulda, coulda.
So, yeah, so trivia question number one is the answer is five college football
Five.
teams share a stadium with NFL teams. That is UNLV with the Raiders, USF with the Bucks, Miami with the
Miami.
Dolphins, Temple with the Eagles, and Pitt
Pitt with
with
Pittsburgh.
Steelers. The other question, and this is, I don't know, I think you might get this one right away, you might not.
No pressure
All
then.
50 states did not start playing football at the same time. I think could probably guarantee that anyway, given that we know
Well,
that one.
considering there weren't 50 states to begin with.
Which state was the last state to host a college football game?
Surely it has to be a state with like one team in.
It's got to be Hawaii, right? I would Hawaii, Alaska, Hawaii.
Alaska.
Hmm.
Alaska, it was right at the end of the 1940s. Hawaii
Yeah.
played early mid 1940s for the first time.
Well, there you go. But, I mean, it had to be then because they were later added, later additions to the Confederate or whatever the bloody thing's called.
Yeah,
The
that's why I was
50
like,
states.
the answer might be staring you right in the face, but whether you
Yeah.
think to go there,
Or
not,
think because it's your kind of trivia and it's going to be twisted and whatever else.
yeah,
It would have
the
been
answer
it would have been
isn't the obvious
Maryland or
answer.
fucking Virginia or something, one of the founding father states. No, fortunately enough, it wasn't.
Yeah, I do like those ones where like, the answer is not the obvious one that you're going to think of. So,
Speaking of obvious answers that we're all thinking of, who do we think is going to win the ACC this year?
pretty much that's right where I was at.
That's right where we're at.
On to the ACC. This conference last year was the only one in which the five of us could not agree on in any way, shape, or form. The only one that had five different predictions, and only one of us could be right, but
Just sheer luck of the draw, he got it
just
right.
pure luck. It was
Yeah,
basically by accident. I'm pretty sure he just close your eyes,
stuck a dart
move
in
it
it. Yep.
around. Yeah, one of those just happened like that.
Did Nick get it
Bitterness
right, by
does
the way?
not suit either of you,
Did
I
Nick get
It
it
swear.
right
does. No,
last
no,
year?
no.
Then jealousy's a horrible thing. It's a bad
Bit,
color for us.
I've decided. No, bitterness is my color. That's it. Listen, I won the whole thing anyway, so I don't really care. Um,
Yeah, whatever.
so yeah, so the ACC is a fun one. Clemson took it last year, as Nick correctly predicted. Um, I feel like the way that the media's talking about it, the way things are going, you would almost think that Clemson don't have it wrapped up, but Clemson are clearly the favourites. Nick, why do you think Clemson are the favourites going into it this year?
Even if Clemson weren't the favourites, they would still have my vote again. Because as I said when we were talking G5 teams with Joe, any team that won and got me a point last year, I am going to ride that train again. So as I jumped on the Tulane Green Wave because they won me a point last year, I will jump on Clemson again because they won me a point last year. So I think if you look at the amount of returnees that the
Yeah,
Clemson have actually got on both sides of the ball. Yes, they lost. They lost a couple. They lost a couple of key players. Key players, but the amount of returning. You know, they got Clay Kubnik coming back. You know, they've probably got one of the best defenses. Certainly, you've probably got the. They've certainly got the best defense in their division. Probably got
yeah,
one of the best defenses in college. The power and the strength, and because so many of those players are in their last year, they're all experienced as well at that level. It's
yeah,
not it's not a team that's talented but lacks experience. This is a team that is talented and full of experience because they're
yeah.
all
Battle
in
hardened as well. They're all year two,
years
three,
four,
four. Yeah,
yeah, 3, 4, some cases 5 year players,
yeah,
and they are ready. They are ready, and I think the reason why they're so people's favourite is because it's hard to see how you can look past them given what they are offering and bringing to the table.
yeah. It's a horrible situation for me to sit here and blow smoke up the orange team. But as Nick's just highlighted, they've brought back an awful lot, as we've talked about with Penn State, talked about Ohio State the year before. All the guys have come back. They're all back for one big last hurrah type thing. A lot of guys are back. They've got Clay Kutnick. They've got, not only that, but Brian Westco, the wide receiver, who's going to take the roof off the fences. They've got the best pass rusher. They've got, you look at it all through the board in this division, they have man for man probably the best players on per division, per place, per position. So it's really hard to sit here with the Seminoles background and say, yeah, it's going up the road to Clemson. But unless Kubnik goes down, unless injuries happen, I can't see a way that the Tigers are not repeating on this one this year, unfortunately. That pains me to say that.
Yeah. Um, I'm there with both of you in the sense like they only lost six people to the NFL,
Yeah.
three of which were only three of which were draftees. You had the three undrafted free agents. They've retained a lot of talent. There was another one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight who left on only one of which was the senior. So you've had seven of which I think leave in the transfer portal. Um, the only thing I the only thing I get, which I think is going to potentially work against them, is their recruiting and transfer class. And we all know that
Yeah.
Dabo Sweeney does not like the transfer portal, does not want to use it. And he brought in only four players completely in the draft. A defensive end, a tight end, a linebacker, and a wide receiver, only one of which was a 4-star and the rest were 3-star. Or a couple of 2-stars and a less. So you're not talking like incredible talent. You're talking depth pieces were brought in via the portal. The talent retained is fantastic. That defense, as you said, is the talent on there is impeccable. The offense is fantastic as well. But opposed to Miami, who've had a top 10 recruiting class and a top 5, a top 3. No, it was top 4. Transfer
they
class.
went big in transfers to get their secondary beefed up.
They are first in the ACC in 2025 recruiting. They are first in the ACC in 2025 transfer classes. That for me is just the talent being retained is fantastic. But there are other teams loading up with better recruiting classes, with better transfer classes. The rest of the league is going to be better. And the question you've got to ask is, yes, that's a lot of talent returning. Yes, that's a lot of experience. But look at how good some of those other teams are in what they're
the
bringing
other teams
now as
have
well.
got closer to them and have battled hard to close the gap.
Yeah.
And I suppose one of the things you look at the Clemson, the depth of the Clemson team, is it potentially as strong? Once the starters, if some of the starters go down, are they rotationally enough? Do they have the bodies to get through a season? I guess we'll only find out. But
I mean, I think the other thing is while you can look at Miami and say, yeah, they had a great recruiting class and yeah, they had a great transfer pool, but they have to put that greatness on the field.
Yeah.
They have to, it takes time to learn even at college level. It takes time to learn a playbook and get familiar with your surroundings and what have you. And it's not a snap of the fingers and suddenly all these new players work and it's a smooth transition. Some of them I can't tell you who's who, but some of these players won't have played in a big environment like Hard Rock, and it's some of the players may have to adjust to the weather, because we know Florida's a completely its own ecosystem effectively, so there's a lot of if buts maybes that come with transfer, and this is not just Miami. Any team that's dipped into the transfer portal or dipped into, heavy on recruitment, it's if but maybe as to whether these players are going to work straight away and hit the ground running. And in a division like this, if it takes you 2-3 games to get up to speed, that might be one or 2 games too many.
Mm-hmm.
And you might have lost your chance to win the conference before you even get out of September. So, while I'm certainly not going to throw shade on Miami and dismiss them as non-contenders. I think you've got to see how all these new players are going to settle in such an environment, and I think that's why Clemson are being touted by the media as the favourites, because it's a lot easier to just keep the ball rolling as opposed to change it all up.
Yeah, lean on that experience, as you say. They've got the experience from last year. They won it. They went through and they visited these places.
How many times in it? We're all English. We're all English football fans. How many times do you watch a game in the Premier League where there's 3, 4, 5 substitutions at one point in the game, and then the game just dies? Whatever momentum was in the game just dies as the change of personnel comes in and things change about and it slows down, and it's just like, oh. And that's the whole idea of those substitutions at that point in time, But it's kind of like if you apply it to the American football situation, that's kind of what we're saying. You've got these new players and these new schemes coming in. They have got to bed in and they have got to hit the ground running.
Yeah. One of the things I do want to mention though is, and it's in relation kind of, I think, to what you're saying here as well, though, Nick, is the Clemson schedule as well is
Yeah, it's not.
favourable.
Hey, although it starts with a biggie.
Oh yeah. It starts with a
It's-
massive one um against LSU, but that's at home. And I would, if you press me, I'm saying Clemson are winning that.
yeah, I mean
I'm very
LSU are
happy to say
not
Clemson are winning that.
notorious. I don't think LSU have won an opening game for 6 years, something insane like that. They haven't won their opening game for however long it's been. So you've got to favour slightly the Tigers there being at home as well.
Yeah,
But that opening weekend is quite a tester for all of the teams that we've kind of mentioned as challengers this year.
yeah.
You know,
And
that's which is really interesting to me that there's no easy cakewalk for
no,
any of the teams starting out, if you like.
no. And
Well,
I
maybe
want to get
maybe
onto
SMU.
those. I want to get onto those in a second as well, though. But it's to then go to we've got Troy at home. You then travel to Georgia Tech, who I think are going to be a better team this year than they were last year, and improve. But again, you're talking maybe they're in and that they can cause a bit of trouble this year. Don't particularly think they're contending for an ACC title, unfortunately. As much
I
as I
think
would
they'll
like
they'll
to have
cause a few
said,
upsets. They'll cause a few upsets like last season when they completely turfed us over.
I was gonna say, I'd like to say that at least in that case, last year we saw a team where most of those players were contending for ACC titles. I thought we were going to be able to say that last year anyway.
Well, we
Um,
did, but it was a Golden Jackets and it wasn't a Seminole. Anyway,
but that's going to be a difficult game again on the road in Atlanta. Uh, then you've got Syracuse at home. I guess a tough game, but not one you'd expect them to win. At Chapel Hill against Bill Belichick's North Carolina after a bye week.
mm,
I'm not entirely sold on the Bill Belichick year one train. I think he's definitely got to improve the program. I just don't necessarily think it's going to happen in year one or
yeah,
come to fruition in year one. At Boston College, again, going to be a tough one. Um, SMU at home, that's a tough game, but again, one you'd expect to win. Duke, a tough game, one you'd expect them to win. Florida State, then at Louisville, at Louisville, which again, that's arguably the toughest game at the end of that
yeah,
stretch if they do come out
mhm,
with it. Furman at home, see Florida State, and then at South Carolina, that's a tough one, really
yeah,
tough one.
yeah,
But they've got okay. When I say they've not got a tough schedule, they've got a tough schedule. They're gonna get beaten and bruised between Boston College and Duke.
yeah.
Those three
We're gonna
games
get,
are going to be a battle
they're
test.
gonna, yeah, it's gonna be painful. There's gonna be, and we talked about it last season as well, and we talked about it before. Sometimes it's just about getting the win, and some of those games will be we're broken, we're a bit battered. Can we just get out of here with a win? And if they can get through, as you say, at Boston College, SMU, yes, they get a week off between that and Duke, but if they can come out of that 2-1, I think they'll be happy with that because that's a tough stretch.
I
If
mean,
they cut,
early on, even if they pick up a win against LSU in week one, that just spurs them on to, and
yeah,
before you know it, it's week three, week four. They're already 3-4-0.
yeah.
And it's like, right, where's
Who's going to
the
stop us? Yeah,
where's the bump?
yeah.
You
Who's
know,
who's
Yeah,
derailing this train now? We're flying. We've got the win over it. That's why I say that first week, that LSU game is such a massive game. Because it's it's a chance for Clemson to say, we are it. Maybe put a marker down, but it's also a potentially that bump that you just said, Nick. It could derail the whole program if they get battered. Yes, it's only week one, and they've got a chance to recover from it because it's a longish season. But if you get hammered by LSU on the first week, that's going to be demoralizing from a confidence base and whatever else. So it'll be interesting to see that one. But then you can say the same about Miami because they've not exactly got the easiest game to kick off their schedule either, have they?
No, and just one more thing on Clemson as well is with it
Stop
being
talking about Clemson already.
one last thing for crying out loud, Gary. Um, Going into the season, we are so close to the season now that we've even had the coaches poll get
Mm-hmm.
released. The
It's not
preseason
important though
coach.
until the UK college
What honestly,
poll comes out.
AP haven't even weighed in. By the way, lads, have you done your preseason poll yet?
Yes, of course I have.
No.
Got plenty
Right.
of time. Got plenty of time. Got due in. When is it due in? Friday?
Yeah. Monday, I believe.
Monday. I got loads of time.
Anyway, so Clemson have come in at 6th nationally in the preseason coaches poll. Lots of love for Clemson. And the only other thing that I kind of wanted to say on my own was they've got a new OC and a new DC and co-OC and co-OC, co-DC. They're all new, kind of. They're all been within Clemson, obviously, but new to that role.
Got promoted up to the roles. Yeah.
But one thing that can't be understated is the Davos Sweeney effect. And the man's that man can coach.
Yeah.
Let everything else aside, that man can coach, and that should always be kept into account. So, when talking about these rivals for this, and we brought up Miami a couple of times, Miami are considered probably your consensus seconds.
Yeah.
They brought in Carson Beck over the summer. That's been, I said, wait a minute, over the summer it was in back in like December, wasn't it, that they
Back
actually
end of
brought him
December.
in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But
That hasn't been smooth sailing for Carson Beck, who came over. I think he split up with his girlfriend. His house got robbed.
His Lambo got nicked.
His
Lambo
Lambo
got
got
nicked.
nicked.
Yeah.
The amount of times that's happened to me. And
Or especially with us, not surprising being in Manchester.
Oh,
so
hey,
I
hang on.
Hey,
Whoa. Let's not go there.
hang on. I managed to get both of you with that one.
so I can personally vouch for how devastating it is to have your Lamborghini robbed.
Hmm.
Should Carson Beck? I mean, the main question here, I think, for Miami is: does Carson Beck hit the ground running, or does Carson Beck flop? Because they put
The
all their
problem
eggs
I
in
think
that basket.
Miami have got, the problem I think is Carson Beck is not the recently departed QB. The QB at Miami is pretty good. Last season he kind of went number one in the draft. It was kind of consensus the best QB around, and he wasn't a Carson Beck sit in the pocket. Carson Beck strikes me as a sit in the pocket kind of pocket passer, old school QB, and I don't know if
But
that's gonna be what Miami need.
But
can
as
use
I
his
looked
legs if
at
he needs to.
Georgia, looking at Georgia last year, Carson Beck, when you looked at that like sort of offensive attack of wide receivers, quarterback, running backs, that sort of like the tight, that sort of thing. Carson Beck for me was the weak link.
Yeah.
He was the guy. He was the guy that I didn't rate as highly, and I'm like, well, I'm not surprised he stayed in school because he wasn't going to get drafted very high in the
If at all.
draft, if at all. And to be honest, I don't think he's going to get drafted high next year either, because
No.
there's at least for me there's at least 3 or 4 QBs ahead of him. I don't think Miami are getting the player they think they're getting.
No.
I think a lot.
It has connotations of a previous ACC team reaching out for a QB who they expected to come and do good things and getting maybe the version that they didn't want.
Well, the guy that can pass 6 yards sideways, and that was about it.
Maybe
Yeah.
that one.
But I think if he bombs out at Miami, it's not going to be a surprise. I'll be honest, because I don't think he's that good. And
I think he's the one with the most pressure, right? It's the most pressure situation for not just Miami, but also for the player. It's like, okay, you've left Georgia because maybe it was too difficult or the competition was too high or whatever.
Yeah.
And now you've gone to what was a very, well-run organization and a well-run unit, you should regress, if you like, back to what everyone thought you
I mean,
were.
ask yourself why Georgia didn't want to keep him.
Yeah,
Why didn't Georgia want to keep him if he wasn't going
he knew the
to
system,
the
knew the
draft?
playbook, knew
Exactly.
all the
To be
stuff we've talked about, consistency and the same HC and the same QB and all that sort of stuff is important in college. They
to
didn't
be
fight that
fair,
hard for him.
I think Georgia thought he was going to the draft, and he declared for the draft, and he comes back, and then he's like, and then like I think even he knew that. Look, he may not be the greatest on the planet, but Gunnar Stockton's now taken that play. Gunnar Stockton's walked in. He's come off an injury. Gunnar Stockton had walked in, and he's now there. So you're probably looking for. I don't necessarily think it's truly an indictment on Carson Beck that Georgia weren't that he's not at Georgia and Georgia didn't clamor together because I think again they thought he was going into the draft and quite potentially then at that point had thought like they've got the plan now for Gunnar Stockton to take over and that's it. The plan's in place
Mm-hmm.
now. You can't just walk back and say,
And stroll back in and take the
actually,
job back. You're
can I
gonna,
have my
yeah.
job? Can I have my job back now, please? Because I don't think he yeah. So I'll give him a little bit of his dues on that, but it's not like the move to Miami wasn't a questionable one to begin with. Kind of did what everyone thought Cam Ward had done, and just and
Mm-hmm.
everyone he's trying to do. I think what Cam Ward did. Cam Ward got rewarded with a first overall draft pick out of it, but there are
Do you remember?
questions, massive questions on whether because it all rides on Carson Beck. I
Mm-hmm.
think.
Do you remember if anybody else was interested in him? I'm trying to. While I'm sitting here now, I'm trying to think if anybody other than Miami was interested in Carson Beck, and I don't remember anyone being
Don't remember
seriously.
any stories of
No, there might have
any
been a
other team.
few.
Might have
Yeah,
been a
there might
few
have been
that
a
maybe
few,
picked up the phone and gone, what
but
if, maybe, but
there was no
no
strong
hard
links. It was
recruiting,
just
no
Miami
hard.
or nothing.
Yeah, it was Miami or bust. And maybe it's Miami went out and went, we want you. This is the NIL deal we'll give you. Look what we've done look what we've done for Cam Ward. This can be you. Come over. And he was like, sweet, done, dusted. Declared for the portal, but declared for the
Yeah.
portal with no contact because it's already been signed, sealed, and delivered. But I don't remember hearing any other
No, I
teams
don't.
going, damn it, you got him, we wanted him type thing. It was like, oh, he's going to Miami, he's not going to the draft. Oh, okay.
Well, it was only the day after he withdrew from the draft was the day he signed for
Yeah.
Miami.
So
He literally he
was
withdrew
he
on the
was he
9th.
previously connected to Miami? Did
But again,
Miami tap him up? And
I get, I don't want to sound like I'm being a bit of a homer for him because again, I'm not. But if his decision was entirely to go to the draft, and then he's probably gone into some of those draft rooms and spoke to some of those people, and they've gone, listen, mate, you're not able to throw till March. You
mm-hmm.
haven't shown out to be. Don't particularly think you've shown yourself out to be the QB that everyone wanted to see out of a Georgia QB this year. Your draft stock's falling. You're injured. If I were you, I'd go put some more tape on film. I'd
Go somewhere where you're
go
going to
to
get
the
on
next draft where
TV.
you're more likely to come out with a better outlook going into
Yeah.
it, and then you probably like his girlfriend at the time has probably said to him like, look, I can because she was on the basketball team, I believe. Was it basketball or gymnast? It's one of the Cavendish twins or whatever they're called. He said, like, I can put a word in. They'd be interested in having you because who's their option? Who's the backup at Miami right now? It's
There you go.
all I'm
Disco
gonna say is
Dave.
if you look through it exactly. Um, Emery Williams.
Yeah.
Who've they got? Right? Who've they got? So they're probably going like we've not really got like we kind of need we need a quarterback. they're willing to put a few bit of money on down for you. We can probably be like, the power couple on campus, the two famous athletes, and
Hmm.
lots of good can come of this. So it wouldn't surprise me if that lack of interest again is from teams who never really had an option.
Missed the boat
Emery
because it was,
Williams.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I suppose the thing is with what the success that Miami had last season has left them somewhat short in offensive sort of playmakers because they have lost a fair few. I think they've lost their tight end. They've lost. Then the tight end went to Seattle. I think Restrepo went with Tennessee. He's gone with Cam Ward. They haven't got any of their sort of big names on offense other than a few of their guys. I think Ray Joseph might be who they're pinning a lot of hopes on, but the running back situation, Martinez didn't really work out for them. I thought he was actually going to tear it up last season and didn't really, which is why, his draft stock fell away as well. But then that's probably because Cam Ward kind of played the way he did and didn't kind of give Martinez too much of a um too much of a run, if you like. He didn't give the ball
Yeah.
to him very much. Yeah.
Their defensive coordinator is in his first season, but the returning third year offensive coordinator for Mario Cristobal. Corey Hetherman, by the way, was the he was the DC slash linebackers, excuse me, coach
Mm.
for the Minnesota Golden Gophers last year.
Don't we love the Gophers?
So he's now their defensive coordinator and linebackers coach at Miami. But like I said, the offensive coordinator Shannon Dawson's in his third year. So they've returned that as well. A third year OC, which is good going for any offense, really, in college. So
I just suddenly looked. Sorry, I just had a quick look at the U's schedule, and they have quite an interesting block towards the end of September, beginning of October. They're literally playing the three, interstate rivalries. They're playing South Florida, then they're playing Florida at home, the Gators, and then they're playing at Florida State.
yeah,
That's going to be interesting. I would expect them probably to win probably all three of them on paper. You would think they'd come out of that, but having interstate local derby rivalries one after the other is quite an interesting
yeah.
block.
But take this into account. Game 1 is in
Yeah,
Miami, Florida. Game 2, Miami, Florida. Game 3, Miami, Florida. Game 4, Miami, Florida. Game 5, Tallahassee,
Tallahassee,
Florida.
Florida,
Game 6, Miami, Florida.
Miami.
Game 7, Miami, Florida. Game 8 on the 1st of November, Dallas, Texas. They don't travel outside the state of Florida until the 1st of November.
Madness, isn't it?
And then there are only two
Even
games.
then, it's still at warm, right?
Games.
Even yeah.
3 games outside of Florida, right? That's Texas. Then they've got 2 games back at home again. So they're in Dallas, Florida. Then they've got Blacksburg, Virginia, and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Now the thing is, and we say this about Miami teams, what's the number one thing we've said about the Dolphins for years?
They don't do well in the cold weather.
Exactly. And if you're gonna
They don't travel well in the cold.
schedule a 7-game running home streak, you kind of want that if you've got a team in Florida. Yeah, the back
Towards
7
the
games.
back end, yeah,
You know,
towards the back end, maybe
in
not when it's absolutely baking hot
now
and people are melting. But
November in Dallas probably going to be quite warm. Like, it's not going to be freezing. But then you've got end of November in Virginia and then end of November in Pittsburgh.
could be
Gonna
anything
get a
then.
bit chilly, really.
Gonna get a bit brisk.
Now you're not talking snow games, yeah, I don't think. But it's getting a little bit chilly willy there, and maybe they don't do as well in those last 2 games. But if you want to actually talk about the quality of games, like we have done, you've got Notre Dame, which okay, then will be nice for once. It's a very, very, very difficult game, even if you're at home.
Fighting Irish coming to town is going to be tough for anybody this season after the
Um,
season they had. So there you go,
then you
Nick. That's as nice as we're going to be about your team.
I
literally
was just
that's
going to
it.
let you two be diplomatic. Go
Then you've got Bethune Cookman, who I'm going to assume that neither of you two have heard of either.
I'm assuming that's like an FCS sort of out of state, some sort of beat them up team just after they got,
Yeah, I'm going to ask the real college football expert who feeds me all of my information for every single episode. Mrs. Fletcher, have you heard of Bethune Cookman? Have you heard of Bethune Cookman?
isn't that
No,
the
not
lead
even
singer
Mrs. Fletcher's
from?
heard of him, so
Yeah,
there's
isn't
definitely a
that
bit
the
of
lead
nobody.
singer
There you
of some
go,
team?
yeah.
Yeah, it's like yeah.
The Bethune Cookman Wildcats play in the Southwestern Athletic Conference in the FCS.
South
The SWAC.
Now they are a slack
Southwestern.
Division Two team that you can beat up on.
SWAC. The Southwestern
Southwestern.
Athletic Conference, the
Not even the southeastern.
SWAC. Nope,
So they're making them travel across the country.
yeah, the SWAC, otherwise known as the SWAC, which is now that's perfect, by the way. That's
Perfect. It's
perfect.
the
The SWAC.
Swackdown.
The
The
SWAC.
Swackdown.
Where are they? I want to know. Bethune
No,
Cookman University is
where is it?
Daytona. Is it? Yeah, Daytona Beach, Florida, in the
Southwestern.
Southwestern Conference.
Just go to Southwestern Conference,
Yes.
based in
East Florida.
Daytona Beach, Florida.
Well, shall we get into some of the member scores of the ACC, which we will do in a second? The Atlantic Coast
The Atlantic
Conference,
Coastal Conference.
who, if they trip over, land in the Pacific.
Yeah, maybe the naming convention
But
shouldn't be
okay,
something we hang ourselves too much on.
they've got Bethune Cookman, who we are going to find out probably by the end of the second
may
quarter
we
who
to
the
be
backup
quite
quarterback
frank,
is.
we might actually,
Um,
if it comes to that, we may have to adopt the Bethune Cookman Wildcats. Did you say?
yeah, but I thought no. To be fair, I thought we were the fighting
We
camels.
keep him with the camp anyway. Yeah.
No, but we have to adopt the SWAC as our
Yes.
the SWAC.
It's just us. We
But
support the SWAC conference. Yeah.
USF, bit of a not okay, not a proper
It's a
beat 'em up game, but
cakewalk.
it's a bit of a beat 'em up game.
Bit of it, yeah.
Florida, there's your tougher game. At Florida State are going to be a much better team this year.
Can't be any worse.
Tallahassee, that's going to be difficult. Louisville, difficult. Stanford, okay. At SMU, difficult.
Difficult. Yeah.
Syracuse, yeah.
Not easy, but should be winnable at home.
NC State, you might beat them, but you will come away with a couple of bruises and scratches.
It's gonna hurt.
Virginia Tech, I know we're all watching that one just for
the intro.
I was it. We'll turn it off by the time the game kicks off, but we're
Absolutely, we're only watching it for the intro. Yeah.
And then
Hopefully it's a night game.
Yeah. Oh, it better be. But then at Pitt, like that's again, it's
a tough finish. It's a tough finish.
Similar to I think Clemson. You've got all of those games are winnable, but you're gonna get beaten up on a few of them. And can you survive that bit of a gauntlet where you're going to get beat up a little bit of Florida State, Louisville, Stanford, SMU?
It's going to be interesting.
Possibly, yeah. I mean,
4-1 out of that, I think, is very, very good. 3-2, you're going to be very disappointed, and you're now looking at, crap, we're not going to make the playoffs because you're probably going into the season 0-1 there.
Yeah,
Notre Dame, probably.
Definitely.
I would be, from any similar to Clemson, right? If they probably are planning potentially to start 0-1 and the season starts week 2, potentially because the LSU, tough one. Same with the Hurricanes. They're probably looking if they've come out 1-0, massive big win. Wow, season's off and running. We are away. But is that why they've cooked up the run of games afterwards. Damn, I'm good. Damn, I'm good with starting at Bethune-Cookman. Is that why that schedule is set that way, to get over the Notre Dame loss, to get back on the horse, to get a bit of momentum and running and stuff like that? It's going to be an interesting one.
I mean, that in itself, momentum is everything. We only need to look at, the Fighting Irish last year, whatever it was, week 2, week 3, absolute disaster. But then they went on a run of proportions because they knew they had nothing else but win. You had to win, 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 and the momentum was with them, and it took them all the way to the national championship. And I think whether it be Clemson or whether it be Miami, it doesn't really matter which team you want to apply this to, or both. You can afford to lose that first game if you see enough in that first game to say, I can see where we're going. Yes, we have a chance. And you put a run together, you can still do the business. If Miami and Clemson, for example, start 0-1, still a wide open division.
Yeah.
And so I think, that goes back to exactly what we were saying about new players coming in and bedding in and hitting the ground running, because momentum is so much to do with, in the college game, of just trying to put results together and stringing a sort of
that
group of results together.
Yeah. I think, though, I'm going to say this, right? If they both start 0-1, like you said, open conference.
It opens the door and opens the conversation up to some of those teams that are just on the edges. On the edges, right?
Yeah, if they both start 0-1, it blows open the entire conference, right? If they start if they both start 1-0, then that is an open race between them both, and obviously you'll have a couple of teams there just kind of following, clipping at the heels, hopefully hoping one of them slips up somewhere. If Miami start 1-0, Clemson start 0-1, it's a bit tasty. It's
tasty,
really
then,
tasty.
Mm-hmm.
I think if Clemson start 0-1 and Clemson start 1-0, Miami start 0-1. See you later.
Clemson gone then, aren't they?
Miami are one of the rest of the teams clipping at heels, and they'll be fighting for that second spot. But as well, when we talk about the playoffs, there is no reason why two teams from the ACC can't make it into the playoffs. But if you are a 9-3 team in the ACC making the playoffs, because like I say, you could lose to Notre Dame, be 0-1, you could very easily lose one, if not two, of those remaining that 5-game stretch of, like, you could lose to Florida and Florida State, or you could lose to Florida and Louisville, or you could lose to Florida and SMU, or Louisville and SMU. You could lose two of those.
There are losable games in there that, as you say. So
I wouldn't expect them to cakewalk over Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh, or even VT, especially if that's a night game and that crowd gets going at VT. I would not expect you to go on a cakewalk over it. If you're going out 9-3 and you're going
especially the Pittsburgh game as well could be an interesting one, because there might be a lot riding on it from a ranking perspective for Miami, but as the last game at Pitt, there's a lot of players there who, as we talked about for college games, they might be playing their last ever game in football.
Yes.
It might be the last time they're suiting up, so they might really be up for making a statement, and a statement win at home in their last game, homecoming or whatever.
Absolutely.
It could be a real toughie, that one.
If Pitt have a good year, you've got players looking to put the tape on. Maybe they're going to go to the draft this year. But what I'm saying is, like, you're a 9-3 ACC team, right? And then you're looking at the playoffs and you're going, listen, I think we're good enough to make the playoffs. We lost to. We lost it a close one to Notre Dame, and look at Notre Dame, they're really, really good. Then it was only close, and we kept him within a score. Also we did lose to Florida, but Florida are really good, and again we kept that one close, and then you're looking at maybe one of those other teams. You go, yeah, but we kept our 3 losses close. Then you're going up against an SEC team and a Big Ten team that's 9-3. didn't we all argue last year about why a 9-3 ACC team should not be in the playoffs
Yep.
over a 10-2 SMU? Now, if you're a 9-3 Miami trying to argue to get in over a 9-3 SEC team,
Yeah, you're
you're
not gonna
doomed
get very
dead. You're
far.
not going into the
You're
playoffs.
not
You're
going to
not.
put it
Uh,
away, boys. It's not happening. Go and enjoy the ball. Go and enjoy the bowl game because it's done. Yeah.
so your only other option then is to you got to beg that 9-3 makes you to that ACC player ACC championship game, and that championship game gets you into the dance. Um,
Mhm.
Somewhere down that line, it gets you into the dancers just as that automatic bid for winning the conference. We've spoken way too much, I think, actually, to be fair, about Clemson and Miami on their own.
It's
Hurrah.
indicative, though. It's indicative, though. I think of the conference this year. That's where the
Yes.
news is. That's where the stories are. It's those two, and then others who are going to maybe cause an upset, maybe have a bit of a niggle, hang around for a bit longer. But I think the class of the conference this year is in those two teams, and that's why we've spent, 2/3 of our already allotted time talking about them, or it feels like far too long. But I mean, that's what I think. Those two are going to be head and shoulders probably above the next best.
Yeah. And the next best, in my opinion, and throw it out there, is Louisville. Do you have any others that you think are going to be chasing the pack particularly close?
I think the Mustangs are going to give a fair, ruffle a few feathers. I think they'll be there and thereabouts. They did really well last year, moving into the ACC and kind of getting just up to speed with it. I don't think they've gone away from what they had too much. So I don't really, they've got their QB. He tore it up a bit. Their schedule is a lot tougher this year, which will probably mean that they won't quite reach the heights that they did. But I think they're going to be there and thereabouts. I I don't want to say it because it will sound, like my bias coming through. But as you say, we can't be as bad as we were. So I don't know if we're in the fourth, fifth battle with Louisville, SMU, and us. Who's the third team in the ACC? Maybe I'm putting my garnet covered, glasses on there to kind of think that that's as high up as we're going to bounce back. But
You haven't
I'm going
stomped
to,
on them and broken them.
yeah, throwing them out, drop them in the Irish
Is
Sea.
there at least a reserve?
There is a reserve pair, yeah. Unlike the
Left one pair at
unlike
home.
the Kit Kat chunky, there is a reserve.
Oh, you brought it up this time. You brought it up.
Still
Nick,
pained,
Nick
still
cannot be
pained.
blamed for this one.
That was all on me. That was all on me. So yeah, it's those three. I think it is between those three to battle the rest of it. I mean, I'm being hopeful that Florida State jump up to fifth, if I'm being perfectly honest.
I would tend to agree just a little bit.
Mm.
But not. I don't think you're being as it's not as out there as many would have you believe.
At least I didn't come in here saying we were going to win the conference.
This is true.
The only the only other team I like for success is Georgia Tech.
Yeah,
Georgia Tech
I
are a fun one.
I'm
I like the
I'm
QB.
not
The QB's got Haynes King's got a bit of something about him, isn't he? He's a bit.
I'm not going to sit here and say they're going to get anywhere close to um, playoff qualification.
No.
I don't think they will, but I think they could almost be the best of the rest, if you like. I just they've quietly gone about their own way, and they've
Yeah.
quietly put pieces together, and you know I just think they have the opportunity to slide themselves into third spot in the conference and just pick up those wins that they should win the ones that they should, lose the ones that we expect them to lose,
Yeah.
and finish a bit off the pace, but way
Way above the
everyone
others.
else.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I can see them like in like an 8-5 or a somewhere in that sort of ballpark figure and being third or fourth. You know, best
No,
of the rest.
It's like Fletch said. I don't think the Bill Belichick train in year one is going to be anything.
No,
But it would not surprise me if if he is around in year two, that we aren't talking about UNC as being the best of the rest
dark
next
horses
year.
from all,
Yeah.
yeah, and in
So
that sort of same sort of, yeah, you bed in this year, get the Belichick way in the system. Next year, be contending sort of dark horsey type things, and then maybe as you say, in year three, then the discussions are, is NC actually favoured, or in the top two by that point?
yeah, I mean the two games I watched Georgia Tech in live last year. Obviously, the one in person with yourself at the beginning of the season, and then I watched them live against Notre Dame
Mm-hmm.
when Notre Dame were on that run. And you know, Georgia Tech in both games they did what they needed to do, and they put up a good fight.
Yeah,
And as we know, walk off win in the first game. But Notre Dame weren't. Notre Dame didn't run over them, and didn't
yeah.
sort of walk it. It was a competitive game, and they were made to work for it. So for me, Georgia Tech are the best of the rest. I think.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, obviously they're bringing back the trio. They're bringing back, Haynes King coming back. I think they're bringing back the running back as well, aren't they? Jamal Haynes is back, and their leading receiver. So, they've brought back the weapons. I think their problem is potentially their defense got a bit of a battering in terms of, people who graduated, went to the draft or whatever else. So I think there's a bit of a rebuild there. So that's going to be a tricky one for them to battle back from. But I think, yeah, I mean, I do think Haynes King will win games on his own. He's got that kind of, you know, quality about him, and his running ability, as we saw in Dublin, as well as he's highlighted throughout the rest of the season. I think he's one to watch for some award or other. I don't think he's in for the Heisman, but I think he's going to be one of those ACC best player-y type things. He's going to be in there for that. So
Yeah,
that's why I like the Georgia Tech, even though they trounced us on, well, didn't trounce us, but set us on our last season, should we say? And they've not got the worst schedule. I mean, Clemson, yeah, they've got to play Clemson at home, Virginia Tech at home, Syracuse at home. They haven't really got a. They kind of finish at Georgia. I mean, by about which point, who knows what sort of Georgia team that's going to be?
yeah, but I mean, even you look Colorado and Gardner Webb to start with.
Yeah,
They could quite easily be going into that Clemson game 2-0.
yeah, and Clemson could be battling a 1-1 or as we just talked about. So
Temple, winnable game. Wake
yeah,
Forest, I would expect them to win that game. Virginia Tech could go either way.
yeah,
Duke could go either way. Syracuse could go either way. NC State could go either way. I think it's only when you get to sort of mid-November and it's Boston College towards the end of the season, that's probably
that's
their
when you're going to
next.
know. That's when they're going to know where they are, right? As well.
Yeah, they've got that. They've got that chance where they could put two on the board, lose to Clemson, and then go through a run there where there are winnable games
Yeah,
that they can be applying the pressure to Miami and Clemson if those two aren't turning it on.
yeah. I
And
mean,
like you said,
they
you
could
look
be
at
8. They could be 8-1 by the time they get to Boston College, couldn't they?
yeah,
Lose
and
at
then
Clemson, win the rest. They're all winnable.
rivalry weekend at the end of the season, Georgia Tech, Georgia. You know that could go either way. Either you would expect Georgia to be the winners in that one, but it's rivalry weekend. Anything can happen. So it's
Yeah.
like there is a very good chance that Georgia Tech could push the other two as far as they can, but they will. For me, they're certainly the best of the rest.
Yeah.
How diplomatic of you to call it rivalry weekend. God damn it, it's hate week. It's hate
Oh my,
week.
and hate week.
8 week if you have to go that route. Yeah.
No, we will. We'll go that route. we need to show how committed to the cause that we are by not being very British about it and calling it rivalry weekend.
It's
Hey,
Derby weekend.
Derby
Derby.
weekend, basically,
Go
is
for
what
the
it is. It's
Derby.
Derby weekend.
It's Derby weekend.
Everton, Liverpool, Man United, Man City, all the big ones. Arsenal, Tottenham,
Arsenal,
they're all coming
Tottenham.
out. Birmingham and Villa. Is that even a rivalry anymore?
Yes, it is.
Newcastle,
Don't go,
Sunderland. Get that
don't
one.
go
Don't get that one.
upsetting, don't go
Don't go.
upsetting Birmingham fans by saying that their rivalry don't count.
I say,
That's it. We just completely lost the Midlands as a listening public and a viewing public.
to be
That's it.
fair, Villa fans might be sat there like, "You're damn right. They're not our rivals anymore. We don't care
Mhm.
about them. We're after
Exactly.
European
Just because they're owned
football."
by Tom Brady. Yeah.
Um, quick question: have any of you seen that Birmingham documentary with Tom Brady?
No, it's
No.
on my list of things to watch, but apparently a lot of people say it's quite good.
It's right. I've seen a little bit of it, and it's quite
It's not.
clear they've seen the Wrexham one
I was going to
and
say it's
gone,
not.
"This is a good idea." And with all due respect to Sir Thomas Brady, the Michigan legend that he is, it's a bit of a self-fellatio piece, I believe. It feels like it's just a self-fellatio piece. It's just about how great Tom Brady is, and
Yeah.
it's a
The
bit like,
Tom Brady
oh,
way will help Birmingham, and
um,
look at Tom Brady's a winner. Tom Brady knows what it takes to win.
and
Tom
like
Brady's going to turn Birmingham into a winning. It's like
I just at least the Wrexham one was kind of done with your trademark Ryan Reynolds, Rob McElhenney kind of humor, a lot of
tongue-in-cheek humor,
self-depreciation,
not taking themselves too seriously.
and very much came from the whole like, listen, we don't know, we know to an extent what we're doing, and we're really trying to know what we're doing, but we're happy to kind of let everyone kind of take the lead on it, and we'll just be
Just
there to
fly
cheer
with it.
everyone.
We'll just be the comedy aspect on the outside
Um,
with the money, with the checkbook. I've just read something here in one of my research papers. I call them research papers, but it's obviously the magazines of the Phil Steele and the Lindy's magazines. The key number for Miami, $4.3 million. That's how much
Carson
Carson
Beck.
Beck got. $4.3 million. He is earning more as the quarterback of the University of Miami Hurricanes than Cam Ward is earning as the starting quarterback for the Tennessee Titans.
Are you trying to say that's the reason why he didn't get drafted?
That's the reason he didn't.
Are you trying to say that he chose not to go to the draft because he had 4 point whatever million reasons not
4.3
to?
million reasons to not go and put himself seventh round pick with the whole Shador Sanders
I was
hoorah.
gonna say, right, for that 1 year at Miami, how much did Brock Purdy make on his rookie deal to go to a Super Bowl?
$752,000 or something like that.
To go to a
Not
Super
even
Bowl.
that. Yeah. 260. It was literally pittance.
Peanuts.
He hadn't hit. Did
Peanuts.
did he hit the million mark over
No,
his rookie deal? No.
No.
Okay.
3 years he still hadn't hit a million. And that was starting going to a Super Bowl, going to an NFC Championship game. He still only maximum earned, I think, was just over $600,000.
Because that was one of the big things about when he signed a new deal with San Francisco. He wanted a lot of his money up front because he'd done the hard graft, put the hard work in, and
Yep.
hadn't been paid for it. So one of the big sticking points on why it took ages for Brock Purdy to get his deal was that he wanted so much money up front to reward him for what he had already done.
Yeah. And all fair play to him because
yeah.
what other guy had done as much for their team as he had done in that same rookie draft pick?
And for as little.
For literally nothing, yeah, and allowed the team to pay everybody else at the time. It's
But we aren't here to talk about the NFL or the 49ers as a whole. I know we'd love to, but
good job, because otherwise I'd go off on my soapbox. Be careful.
No, we don't want that.
No.
What about NC State?
NC Bill Belichick Jordan State. Whatever.
No, NC State, not UNC.
The Wolfpack.
Not the Tar Heels. Sorry. They're making up the numbers. I don't see.
Are you going to see a bigger tackle than Anthony Belton was last year? You know,
Is
because
he the one
he
who's
was,
still wandering around the Tampa Bay sort of training facility, not being allowed to practice because he's too big?
yeah. I mean,
Ugh,
he was absolutely massive.
enormous, wasn't he?
You know,
They lost half the line basically because he's left, so they didn't need a guard when he was in there, did they?
no.
Um,
But there's that guy that played at Florida, wasn't there? He wasn't a running back, but they used him as a running back when they needed
Yeah, just give it to him. He's enormous. Just
we
churned like the fridge moment, wasn't it? It really was.
we can say that like I feel like I've spoken on behalf of the podcast so many times about this. And like I've decided, yes, publicly this is how we're going to be as a group. Um, but the best story from last year still has to be Kenny Dillingham and Arizona State. But the best moment, single moment, was watching that human wrecking ball
just run through,
just
run,
run through
and
people.
everyone
And you
tried to
could just
tackle him, and he
imagine
would
those.
just
You could just imagine those
brush
poor
them off.
defensive backs just going, "What the hell? How am I supposed to? What? No, somebody else tackle him, please. Somebody else tackle him."
Now, if Nick Sirianni was involved in that, I'd have expected real deaths with a
Yeah,
tush if you tush push in there, and I'd have expected deaths.
crushing
Um,
injuries to have happened there. Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't need a whole team to tush push with him. He'd just tush push himself. It'd just be him.
Just be him walking, rumbling forward. Yeah. Yeah, I
um,
don't know.
What is it,
Maybe
Chris
they're enough.
Berman? What is it, Chris Berman says on Friday night? That is some rumbling, bumbling, stumbling football.
but yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It took me a minute to not come up with a sarcastic response to. Have you seen a bigger tackle? Um,
You did very well to keep that in check.
Still
Yeah, I don't
find
know.
it
I
funny.
think they come off a losing season, the Wolfpack. So nobody wants that. So they'll probably be aiming at least to have a plus season, to be on a winning side of a season. I just think they done enough to tighten up a bit. Their receiving seems a bit weak. I suppose they've got their tight end back. So, they have brought back their top sort of receiving tight end. So that could be way they lean. Uh, mm,
Um,
ah,
no, I agree. They're making numbers, and I think to start wrapping this episode up, because we've talked through the teams that realistically have a say in what's going to go on at the top end, and with all due respect, what goes on at the bottom end of this conference is, you know,
the Ross.
which couple of players are going in the sixth round of the draft.
The Ross.
With all due respect to them,
If they're
um,
lucky.
yeah. So. But there are, look, with the ACC, we brought them up a couple of times, but there's no way we can't go through without right now talking about UNC and without having a quick conversation actually about Florida State. And Gary, we will let you get on a soapbox if you so wish when
I don't need a soapbox. I don't need a soapbox. I just need to see improvement across the board. And okay. Anyway.
yeah. So, but I want to start with UNC real quick. We've
Yeah.
spoken about them a bit in the off season.
Talk of college football when Bill was signed, and then the hoo-ha that came with his
What
entourage, shall we say?
you're opening against TCU, which is going to be a
That was next year.
precursor. Well, that it's a series. Um, the opening against TCU, which is a precursor to the 2026 game in Dublin,
That you won't be at.
that I will not be at, no chance. There is a certain countries that will be expecting my attendance instead.
They
I
They
have
thought we
theirs.
have
decided. I thought we decided that you were on the Dublin leg.
I think you decided that.
That's why Nick said we decided between us.
You
Nick and
two
I
did
decided
decide
that
that.
you should cover Dublin while we go and cover the
I said that
Frankfurt game.
I'm quite happy to miss the German one. As a Bill Belichick man and whatever, I was quite willing to put my name down as one of the Bill Belichick team, you know. But I think we decided that you should represent in Dublin as a
Right,
regular.
right.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to say to this, and I say this with all respect to both of you,
Uh-oh.
Right.
fucking
Bleep.
catch me,
Get the bleep button.
catch me, catch me, catch me. I will start running. Catch me. Now, with again, I say this with all due respect and love to both of you. I don't see that happening.
I can see it
Um,
happening. Oh,
We were just talking about what happens when tackles get up to speed. Do you want me to get
right.
up to speed?
Careful. Okay,
yeah, you do.
once Nick gets up to speed, the inertia takes over and then you're in real trouble, right?
Yeah, well,
Oh.
like, I mean, how much of a head start do you want?
Oh, be careful. I run marathons, buddy. You might be quicker you might be quicker at the beginning, but I'm going to catch you.
See, you don't know what my fitness level is, or whether I could or could not run marathons.
It depends on whether your trousers are pulled up or halfway down your knees.
You know, is that too then?
Every week.
Every week, every single week. Yeah.
I'll be fine. I'm not worried.
Mhm.
But as far as UNC goes, you open against TCU, you're at Charlotte, got Richmond at home, at UCF, Clemson at home, at Cal, Virginia, at Syracuse, Stanford, at Wake Forest, Duke, at NC State. It's a lot of road games.
Yeah.
You're never at home more than one game for 2 games in a row.
Yeah. They've got the similar. We talked about that in one of the other conferences, didn't we? Where they're literally the ha 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 ha
Yeah, you've got to
schedule.
travel up the East Coast to New York. You've got to travel over to the West Coast in California. It's not great for them.
Yeah.
So what is the ceiling, do you think, for this UNC team that will be watched a lot?
It will have eyes on it. That, with Bill at the helm, Steve at the helm of the defense, it's going to have a lot of people watching it. It's probably going to be on a lot of primetime games just because of that, storyline that comes with it. I think if they can match or better the 6 and 7 of last year, it's probably a success story in year one. Bill Belichick's not renowned, as Nick said, doesn't come in and set the world alight in week one or year one. Generally takes a while for it to kind of build up and to become, the Bill Belichick way. So I'm not sure we'd expect them to do anything more than,
I mean, you don't bring
kind of the
you
same
don't
as.
bring Bill Belichick in to be 6 and 7. But
No.
I would think, even if you finish this first year 7 and 6 and just one game the other way, then I think you're talking about, there you go. There's that first year of settling down, that first year of adjustment. Let's see how we go, and then I don't know whether you get, a 9 and 4 or an 8 and 5 or something in year two. But
Yeah.
I think it's not the college get. We talk about this on multiple levels. The college game is not something you can walk into.
No.
It's not like the NFL, and that in the same way it goes for people. People can't just walk into the NFL just because they've done college football, aka Urban Meyer, right? But and what's his face at Nebraska? He showed that it wasn't as easy as it could be. But I'm assuming coming back the other way and coming from the NFL to college is not the easiest thing either. So, while everyone will be expecting Bill Belichick to work miracles, he is not a miracle worker. And so therefore you have to give him time and a little bit of leeway to adjust.
Yeah, and it has to be that way, as you say. I mean, it's not going to be, oh, he's going to set the world alight. It's a completely different ball game for him now. He's now dealing with youngsters, whereas, for however long he's been dealing with post draft professionals. All the sorts of nuances of being a head coach at a college is completely different from what he's been used to and, been running for the last however long. So it's, yeah, a year of adjustment has got to be expected at UNC.
Yeah,
The oldest player he will now have to deal with is the same age as the youngest players he had to deal with at the Patriots. Your seniors and your juniors. Like that, it's
Yeah,
the
let
reality
alone
of
your
the
red shirt freshmen. I mean,
you're now dealing with, and I, while I agree that you don't bring Bill Belichick in, but you bring Belichick in on the basis of like at least bowl games. Like that's but I also think you see there's a year that needs to be you need that first year, and I don't see a bowl game being made as far as UNC goes. I would say that they aren't within a game of a bowl. Um, I'd be
yeah,
a 4-8 type team, maybe at a push of 5-7, but I don't see him making a bowl game this year. I see this as being a very much a learning curve for the well, yeah, their OC was last year's interim head coach. Steve's been in college football for a while. He was obviously at Washington before this. I don't see it's going to, but it's still going to be a learning curve, and it's still going to be a
yeah.
lot to kind of get over. This, it's not. I don't. It's not exactly the most talented roster. They're still working on the you're not going to see the Belichick effect in recruiting until 2026, realistically. So, like, let this year be a learning curve year for a lot of people involved. Let's just set the program up, the
Yeah.
post Drake May program. Let's set it up with the idea that this we're going to build off it. And I think Bill Belichick's got to do it the right way rather than the quick way. Um,
yeah,
so you would see a bit more long-term success out of it rather than just you get the discipline in and you to do those sort of things though when we see it in the NFL even. Um, if a coach comes in and does it the right way without getting ridiculously lucky, like say D'Amico Ryan's got with the Texans and it just kind of things
Yeah.
just kind of worked. You look at just about any franchise that's turned things around has at least gone in and probably had a worse year than the year before.
Usually gets worse
First
before it gets
time.
better, doesn't it? Yeah.
Because you come in and you go, no, let's do this properly, which means clearing house and getting loads of new people in and loads of this and all this has to change and all this has to but it sets everything up with when done right for long-term success. And
Yeah.
UNC are definitely built into the understanding that like this might take 2 years, this might take 3 years. I don't think they want Bill Bell. I think if UNC had the way Bill Belichick could still be head coach in a coffin with the Bose headset going over the coffin.
The whole grey sweatshirt as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas, the question is Bill Belichick in it for the long haul, which I'm not going to say. I would like to think he is. And he knows the task he's taking on. And potentially, maybe there's a bit of nepo in there. Maybe it's you build it right, but
For
then maybe the
Steve to
best
take.
person to take it on then is Steve, who will
Mm.
continue doing things that
And
way. And but you're building it for long-term success, and if that to me means that the likelihood is there's no bowl game this year for UNC.
yeah, the only way they're going to be bowl eligible is that they lean on their favorable schedule because they have got that.
Yeah,
yeah.
But even then, it's a tough ask. It's a tough ask.
at NC State, you're gonna have to beat a multiple of NC State. In Hate Week, you're gonna have to go to New York and Cal and at least win one of those. 'Cause obviously, well, look, at the end of the day, don't care if you're at home, you're going to get battered by Clemson. That's probably going to happen.
Yeah,
Yes, Bill Belichick is an incredible coach, but as we've said, Dabo Sweeney is an incredible college coach. Um, there's a couple of opponents there where like you're going to have to beat two or three of those opponents that are difficult to beat, even on the
Yeah,
best day. You're probably going to have to beat Duke
which is a tough
at
one because that's
home.
interstate anyway, isn't it? I think that one.
And yeah, again, Duke's one of them. You get beaten up. Um, so look, this is just the half of the course, and finally, you've got Florida State, who again, Gary.
Cleared house. I mean, what you just mentioned there about clearing house, that's what coach has done. He has literally cleared house got the stink out the ball, get the stink out the room if you like, because last year was a stinker of a year after the high, if you like, of the year before, and the unbeaten season ended in tragedy with Jordan Travis, and as can be seen, those damn hip drop tackles need to go because he's ruined that kid's career, and he's now no longer playing football because he's been medically retired. To come off of that and to have such a bad season, I mean, it was almost the archetypal championship hangover season. And although they did, the year before lost 2/3 of their players to the draft or whatever else, that's college football, as we've talked about. Teams get decimated at the draft. If you do well, you should be building for the future. You should have some sort of contingency in mind. The leaning on so strongly on the portal obviously didn't work last year. Hopefully he's learned his lesson. He's cleared house, gone a little bit stronger on the recruitment side of things rather than just buying in sort of new people on the transfer portal, the Deion Sanders route, if you like. Oh, let's just go and get the best players in. But again, I think we'll be targeting fifth as a realistic option. I think there are four better teams in the conference, as we just talked about. Clemson and Miami head and shoulders. Then you've got Louisville and SMU, much of a muchness, Georgia Tech, and then us. We're in that mix, hopefully. That's what I'd be hoping for. That's what I'd be aiming at. We haven't got a lot of big names. We've got Castellanos is obviously the big win from Boston. He should be an awful lot better because he can't be any worse than last year's QB, who, as Nick so kindly pointed out, was lucky to be able to throw it 6 yards sideways, let alone forwards. And hopefully having a new offensive coordinator will make them realize that offenses are supposed to go quickly and have some sort of tempo rather than whatever the turgid mess they tried to do last year was. And I'm going to stop now before I get too much in my tears.
If Florida State make a bowl game at 6-6 or 7-5,
yeah,
well, let's say 6-6 for the sake of the question, is that enough to say we were better than last year by a margin? Let's carry on. Or do you see more heads roll because 6-6 is not good enough and a bowl game is not good enough at a team like Florida State?
It's not taken. Yeah, it's a weird one, right? Because taken out of context of a 2-10 season, 6-6 is a massive step forward. But taken as a Florida State 6-6 team, it's not good enough. And I think he had to clean house and he had to do such drastic measures, maybe to ensure that he gave himself some buffer. And I think he's got this year and next year as a buffer because he's gone, hey, look, I've had to get rid of everything. We've changed completely. Give me 2 years and see where we are after year two. We'll be better next year, but year two, as in next season, will be the measuring stick. And if we're only 8-5 then, well, then, he's out the door, I think.
Okay. I was just interested, and I want to I kind of see it's a bit weird. I want you to look at Michigan as well in this sense. Is like we also that year went unbeaten, lost a considerable amount to the draft,
Hmm.
About the same amount. I think it was the same amount of players. If not, I think we might have lost one more, or you lost one more than we did. Like about
It
the
was
same
very
amount.
close. It was like
Um,
13, 14 players each or
yeah, yeah.
something, wasn't it? Yeah.
Lost a lot of talent too, and that's draft level talent. So that's good talent. Come back, and both of us felt like we had a very disappointing year, but it was
Hmm.
completely different. You went 10-2, we went 8-5.
2-10. We went 2-10.
Sorry, yeah, 2-10, we went
10
eight
and
and 5.
2 would be, 2-10. It was a
Um,
different, you guys were disappointed with an 8-5 season,
yeah,
and it
and
felt like you didn't do very well.
but that's
We
that's
were
the thing.
dreadful. We were just absolutely diabolically bad. Couldn't couldn't fight a way out of a plastic bag or a paper bag even at times. It had no offense whatsoever. Completely, I don't know what happened in that transfer. I don't know what happened to the quarterback whose name shall not be mentioned. A, because I can't actually pronounce it, but B, I don't want to talk about him anymore anyway. Obviously got the bad version from Clemson rather than the good version who went out to California and lit it up. So
Yeah,
the fingers crossed is that by putting, at least the big transfer in has been within the conference, and therefore he knows his way around a little bit and
yeah,
knows what to expect. Slightly worrying that some of the recruitment sort of commitments failed. A couple of big names who were committed to Florida State decided actually a 2-10 season. Nah, I'm going to go somewhere else. It was a bit painful, but it's indicative of the nature of college football now that
yeah,
high level recruits will be recruited a little stronger in other teams. If you have a bad year, suddenly those high level recruits might not be that interested in coming back and playing for a team that may or may not, as we just said, get to a bowl game. If you're a high level recruit and you're looking to progress your career, you're not going to really want to go to a team that might make a bowl game in your first or second year. That's not really how you sell that sort of recruitment
yeah.
class, is it?
I mean,
Um,
I think you have to, when you look at it, silver lining and everything else, when you bring it all down to its very base level, even though you were 2-10, I did find you entertaining all year. I was entertained by Florida State for the entire year. I,
yeah,
you know,
because
I,
of how often you got to poke at Gary.
It's just how often they just
I am not gonna say why I found them entertaining. I'm just gonna say that all year I found them entertaining. They were a team that you could look at and be entertained.
and laugh. I
You
mean,
know,
it took us until, I mean, looking back at last season's schedule, it took us until week 11, week 11 before we scored more than 25 points.
are you coming out this year to the Benny Hill theme?
We should, especially coming out at home to Alabama as a first game. Good Lord. I mean, I know that they've redeveloped at Doak Stadium and it's going to look all fancy and, full house and whatever else. But as an opening game after a 2-10 season, do you really want the Crimson Tide rolling in as your opening season?
That's the funny
It's a
thing.
make or break game, right? I mean, if we win that game, jeez. Oh,
But I think again, I don't think it's a break game. I think it's a make game, but it
yeah.
isn't a break game because after last season, I think you go into that unless you get 60 to 3, right? Unless you
Which is
like
possible.
if they're bringing out like third string quarterback to start the fourth quarter, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, that's a break game. That's when you go, well, shit.
Oh, shit. It's another
And
We're
one
in
of those
no,
trouble.
seasons.
there's
Oh, we're in trouble.
maybe
It's going to be bad. Yeah.
maybe there's your 1 year there's head coach's 1 year buffer gone,
Go on.
right?
Yeah.
But if you lose to Alabama, and even I think a two-score game,
Yeah. If we
nobody
keep it to
expects you to
within
go in.
one score, right?
If you
Right.
keep it to within
If
one
it's a
score,
one
yeah,
score game,
one
then
score
that's
game. Oh, again, even a two-score, you're not. I don't think you can walk away going, oh, like I can't. This another one of them seasons. If you keep it
yeah.
within a score, you go okay, maybe. But nobody expects you to go in and win that game.
No.
Nobody particularly expects it to be close. nobody thinks much of Florida State going into the year. They think maybe you're going to be just a little bit better, like I was going to kind of hint at. So if you lose by 2 scores,
Hmm.
what does that break? Like maybe internally, maybe okay, maybe it is an internal thing. Maybe internally, you're all everyone at Florida State's going, no, we are going to be
We are going
this.
to be okay. This
We
is
are
it.
good enough
Hmm.
to get Florida State back, and you want that belief inside the locker room, absolutely. But I think realistically, with all due respect, just the way that people are looking at Florida State at the moment, that doesn't break anything.
No,
You were going to be 0-1 on that schedule anyway, according
I think
to
everyone's got us as
literally
0-1.
everybody.
Yeah, yeah. So if
And
we get anything other than that, yeah, and as you say, even if we're 0-1, but only by 10 points,
exactly. And
that's yeah,
only way it's a serious problem if it's a demoralizing loss, which
yeah.
I wouldn't think it would be. Um,
Because it's week one and teams often aren't fully fledged and up and running. So even if we're not doing well, hopefully Alabama aren't also firing all
yeah,
cylinders and a well-oiled machine, so that they are not able to steamroller and score 60 points on us, as you just
yeah,
mentioned. So it's a good time to play Alabama at a bad time and a weird time, but it's one of those ones where I think it's definitely a make game for the Seminoles. Alabama really got nothing to lose. If they win that game, everyone expects them to win that game. So win that game and it's close, looks worse on the Crimson Tide than it does on us. If they
yeah,
lose that game and we
exactly.
win that game, who knows? Maybe Mike Novelli's a master after all and cleaning house, master stroke, and the Seminoles are back. Hopefully, it's not that because we'll probably fall flat on our faces against East
Yeah.
Texas the week after.
I say, I don't. If it's going to be make or break, it's going to be a split. It could make you or it could break Alabama, but I don't think it'd make or break one specific team.
Yeah,
Um, Before we go, I do want to end with one thing that we did last year. And given the state of the next 2 weeks, with us having a guest next week, and the week after being just, we're all going to be just so excited to just get through the
giddy,
episode and talk about foot.
giddy.
Um, we might not. Now, I've got sent this week as well. The CFB all name team for 2025, with a notable Eastern Michigan player omitted from the list. Right? Noah Word beginning with K, but doesn't only begin with K. Right?
Mm-hmm. That name is
So,
not being pronounced. Mm-hmm.
mhm, I'm not taking that risk. So, what I want to do is I'm going to give you according to FanDuel, by the way, this is FanDuel's. At quarterback, we have God's Power Nwawehi. I can't pronounce that last name.
Well done.
Um,
Good. It's good effort though. It's a good effort.
at running back one, we've got Tommy Running Rabbit. At running back
Has has
from
to have been playing running back, that guy. Yep.
I have never seen that logo before, so I'm going to assume it's FCS. Running back two, we've got from NC State. Oh, by the way, the quarterback was from Army. The running back two from NC State, we've got Hollywood Smothers.
What a name. What a name.
Wide receiver one from Purdue is Nitro Tuggle. Wide receiver two from the Kent State Golden Flashes, DeRealist Clark.
The realist.
And wide receiver three from the South Carolina Gamecocks is Emerson Littlejohn.
There's some good names in this year, isn't there? Some good names already.
Tight end out of Colorado State is Rocky Bears. And our O linemen are Tree Babalade out of South
Tree.
Carolina Gamecocks. Out of Appalachian State, Big Al Oliver.
That's his
Out
name. It's not just a nickname. His name is actually Big
Big
Al.
Al Oliver.
Yeah.
Um, Out of that is an eagle with a lightning bolt on it. I don't know the team name. Crush Sours. Out of SMU, we have King Large. And out of Virginia Tech, arguably my favorite name this year, there's another one on the defense. My favorite offensive name, though, is Hans Hammer.
Boom. What a
On
good
the
name that is.
defense, we have your 4D lineman. We're going to go with a 4-3. We have Divine Love Anochi out of North Texas. Out of Cal, we have Legend Journey. Out of
That's
Illinois,
a proper hippie name, isn't it? Legend Journey. Their parents were sitting on a beach somewhere smoking some herbal things to when that name came out.
out of Illinois, we have Gentle Hunt.
Wow. Wow, that name. Wow.
There are so many jokes that are that
Oh,
we
many
can't even give to
jokes.
the Patreon
Wow,
subscribers that don't
we
exist.
knew.
Um, and
Yowza.
the final D lineman is Elite Nairn.
No pressure on that guy then.
Our three linebackers making a return this year is Memorable Factor
Excellent.
from
Has to be in
Westminster
there.
High School out of London. We have out of Bowling Green, we have Gideon ESPN Lamprey.
There's an NIL deal waiting to happen.
Out of South Carolina Gamecocks making their third appearance on the
South
list.
Carolina have got some good names this year. They've got 3 so far.
Demon Clowner.
Had to be a defensive player, didn't he,
And our
really?
4 DBs are Pig Cage out of, not quite sure, the logo doesn't fit right. Not quite sure here either, is Dude Person.
Dude person.
Out of Rice is my arguably favorite, again a returner, Mobility.
Mobility.
And out of Arizona State, Ghost Rouser.
Oh, some good names there. Some good names.
Finally, the last 3 on special teams, we have LSU's Badger Hargett is our punter. Our kicker is DC Pippin. And our long snapper, with a proper long snapper name,
Long snappers are people too.
Deed Kappa.
Nice.
I'm
surprised Jesus Gomez didn't get in there, but okay.
So what I want out of you there is I want a favorite offensive and favorite defensive name that's been mentioned.
Is Kappa spelled with a C or a K?
C.
Oh, shame.
So again, as I said, Hans Hammer for some reason just tickles me on the offense.
It's a good one. Nice and short. Nice. I think Dude Person. I think I like that. Or the Demon was good.
Demon Clowner.
I like Big Al.
Big Al was fun, right? Big Al. Or Legend Journey though. Legend Journey's got just
D lineman out of Cal.
California written all over that name. Offense. What was it? Did we have Elite in offense somewhere? Didn't we?
No, Elite Nen was one of the D linemen.
Ah.
Yeah, the Crush, something Crush, was it?
Crush Sowers was an O lineman, yes.
O lineman, yeah.
I'm just saying, like, again, it tickles me, and I saw the way it tickled Nick there was Gideon ESPN Lamprey.
That's just the mouthful.
It's just honestly silly, isn't it? What about Don Corleone out of Cincinnati Bearcats? Okay, his name is Dante Corleone, but surely his nickname has got to be Don Corleone.
You can imagine the parents sat there. Oh, I can anyway.
Just...
Naming their child, going right. We've got Gideon. Right, let's choose a TV network for the middle name.
Did it just happen to be on or something? Was that the TV that happened to be on?
Fox. Gideon Fox sounds like it.
Unless ESPN is an acronym of something.
Equanimous St. Peter.
Just for example, my cousin is two of her middle names are El Capitan, as in the mountain El Capitan, but she's called LC.
Yeah.
because it's just
It's a bit of a mouthful, a bit much.
Yeah. So unless ESPN is an abbreviation for something.
I believe it'd be like an ESPN rather than an ESPN,
Espinosa.
but
Yes, ESPN. Yeah.
FanDuel have capitalized all of the middle names, so for all intents and purposes, it's ESPN. And if it's
It is
not
the
really in
whatever
life,
sports protection network. Whatever. What does the ESPN actually stand for?
entertain, entertainment,
Sports,
sports, something network.
politics? No.
No,
Pacific? ESPN is
I know
anyway.
it's entertainment and sports. Something network. I can't remember what the piece for. Entertainment and sports programming network.
There we go. There we go. Imagine naming your kid after that.
Um,
Stranger things have happened. Stranger things have happened. Right, boys.
right, yes. Again, I think I still think it's better than, naming it CBS something.
Something.
So yeah, right, okay.
Are we
Next,
putting the actual predictions in, or are we all just saying it's
yes,
Clemson?
okay, yes, okay. ACC, your pick to officially pick to win the ACC. Nick,
Clemson.
Gary,
Clemson.
Sam has messaged in, even though he couldn't make it. Clemson. And where have you gone? Egg has messaged me with
SMU?
SMU.
Yeah, I thought he'd go SMU somehow. Yeah.
And I said at the start, went off camera to Nick before Gary got here, I've kind of been riding the Clemson train for a few weeks now. But after there's just certain, like last day or so, I've started to derail a little bit. And in the interest of being a contrarian,
You're going Miami, aren't you?
I'm going to say, why not? Why not let me have Miami?
You're going for the U.
Just for the sake of it. Why the heck not? We'll go with Miami. So they are our official predictions for the ACC. Next week, we'll be talking all things SEC, and we'll have Chapman from the Hurdle the Line over
The one who
Atlanta
watches more
native,
football than the Texas
Georgia
SEC.
native, Atlanta native Chapman on the podcast to talk all things SEC. We'll hopefully have Sam, who watches one of the teams in the SEC as well, to talk about them,
The
which should
number
be
one
really
team in the
fun.
nation, you mean?
And then after that, which is the real one that everyone wants, is our week 0 preview, and we're so
Preview.
fucking close. Before you go, which I don't think anyone is actually here remaining, head to the links in the description of the episode. You will find our free Discord, which is again free to join, with loads of channels, and you can start getting in with the build up to the season, whether that's college football, whether that's NFL, or like the other bits of football that we do talk about sometimes. We've got a brand new fantasy football podcast on its way soon in the next couple of weeks, with with at least one, if not two, familiar faces that you might be aware of already joining on. Lots of stuff happening at the AAW Network, so you can also go into the links in the description, follow the AAW Network, follow the CFB UK podcast on social media, and follow my two wonderful, wonderful co-hosts. And then when you've not done following, have
Oh, that's us two.
and you've got one space missing, and you feel a bit sorry for me because you've not followed me either, you can probably do that and come and argue with me or call me a knob or something on the internet. It's fine. Whatever gets
Pretty
you
much
in.
standard way you interact with people on the internet then. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how we started off.
I don't know what to say to that.
Completely derailed and completely thrown him. Anyway, thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening, everybody. Again, we'll see you next week to talk SEC. And right, Gary, you knob.